a lot of it is about staying in the work, right? So, but it's also about modifying and changing up, how you communicate the work. So, I really believe that vision is the asset of the founder-led organization. Yeah. We've talked about this, that it's the agency, the really large nonprofits that are really risk adverse. They're unwilling to stake themselves out on some big ambition because they're, more system-like. They approximate government. Yeah. The larger you get, the more you're like government. And if nonprofits are meant to be an alternative to government, we're deputizing nonprofits to do the work that government would do. That's why we're, tax deductible. And if we're deputizing organizations to do this work, then we also want them to function differently than government.
What's up, beautiful people? It's Emmanuel and Adrienne Threatt here. We are the host of the Unstoppable Visionary Podcast, and we're super excited about today's episode. Who's going to be on this episode?
Josh Jacobson from NetStage Consulting is with us today, and we're so excited to be sharing him with you guys.
Yes.
Because he's been such a critical aspect of our growth as nonprofit leaders here in the region, and he's really just poured into us over the years in ways that I don't think any other professional here in the city has.
Yeah.
And so he has such a wealth of wisdom that I know is going to be a benefit to you as you listen today.
Yeah. So make sure while you're listening, you take some notes. Actually, you're going to listen to it multiple times. So this first one, just listen through. Second, third time, take notes. Put down some questions that you might have. We'll follow up with you guys at the end of the video, end of the podcast. Love y'all. Let's get it. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to jump right into today's episode. We're excited about this one. Super excited. Our friend Josh Jacobson, longtime friend, longtime consultant of Hope Vibes and everything that we've done with Hope Vibes. I mean, it's been a while. It's been what since pretty much the beginning.
Close.
Very
pretty
close.
Early days. Pretty early days. Yeah.
We're talking 7?
2019.
Yeah, 2018, 2019.
Yeah. That's right there. That's maybe a year.
Yep.
From the foundation of Hope Vibes. So I'm like, anyway. So I'm excited about this episode. So we're gonna just jump right into some questions, and I guess Josh, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you guys. What an honor to be here. So first of all, thank you. So excited for your podcast and really for the thought leadership you're bringing forward, hosting these sorts of discussions with folks. So I know I passed someone in the hall on the way in. I can't wait to hear the conversations that you're having, and just honored to be here. So my name is Josh Jacobson. I'm CEO of a company called NextStage. NextStage is a Charlotte-based social innovation company. So that's newish branding. We call ourselves a social innovation company because we believe in doing things differently. Mm-hmm. We think disruption is important. It's one of the things I see as connecting us, just the being dissatisfied with the way things are and wanting to not just talk about it, but do something about it and to put yourself out there into the space. So we're best probably described as a management consulting entity. We're engaged to support institutions for the most part in thinking through new ways of doing things. We've expanded over time. Certainly our background and what brought us together was work we did related to founder-led nonprofit organizations. So that's been a little bit of our jam. Our early incarnation was really to help founder-led organizations thrive. We've expanded a lot of the ideas that we were pioneering back in the day, things that we were talking about, 2018, 2019 days, became best practice, became things that everybody was doing. And so, we started to work with larger and larger organizations, both nonprofits, but also government and the private sector and faith-based, community-based organizations, philanthropy. We've kind of worked with them all now. And we do a lot of strategic planning, a lot of brand marketing. So this is a big piece of our work these days is, how do we, communicate what it is that we aspire to do. So it's one thing to sort of have a good strategic plan, a good way forward, good operating plan. How do we make sure that people follow us and want to buy into the work that we're doing? And I've held up Hope Vibes and both of you as really, standard bearers for, how to do that effectively. But also recognizing that it's hard for everybody. I mean, the reality is it's hard out there. And I know in talking with both of you, some of the speed bumps that you've hit along the way, everybody hits them. And, how we can help, others learn how to overcome them, how to have a mindset of abundance, a belief in collaboration as an essential part of the model, and how we, build a movement of people around us to make it easier to do the big work that everybody wants to do. So it's a little bit about us. We're a team of 5 now, based out of Charlotte, but we also, work across the Southeast, selectively, nationally. And we have evolved a lot over time. So as we get into this, talking about the founder-led experience, in some ways, I'm a founder of, a social enterprise. I'm just on the other side of the work, given we're a LLC, but, in so many ways we function like a nonprofit would: vision, mission, values, guiding principles, all that stuff. So I feel cut from the same cloth, and that's why it's fun to sit across from both of you.
Out of all the years we've known you, I don't think I've ever heard how you started Net Stage. Like, where did it come from? Like, was it something that you always, like, for a long time had on the inside of you, or
No,
how did it happen?
Not at all. Yeah, no, it's like I'm the reluctant entrepreneur. I kind of came up in social good, so worked largely in the arts. So a lot of people are surprised to know I worked for a Broadway producing theater company in New York City. I worked at the Juilliard School before moving to Charlotte.
Wow.
And ran into my now wife, who I'd gone to college with. We had connected in college, went our separate ways. Wedding in Central Park, a mutual friend.
Wow.
Brought us together. We stayed up all night walking the streets, and she's like, I got to go home to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm like, I'm coming down to see you. And 4 months later, I think I moved here. So it was just really,
That's
when
awesome.
you know.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And so I quit my job. I quit a great job to move to Charlotte with not knowing anybody. Not
Was
really
that the
knowing
Juilliard job?
Well, I was at a Broadway producing theater company called Manhattan Theater Club.
Whew.
And I was director of institutional
That's
giving.
real love right there.
Raising a couple $1 million a year for the arts. And
Wow.
But of course, we knew, like, this was just before the recession. So I moved down in 2008. And I knew in 2007 we had some Goldman Sachs board members. So we had some people saying, you better raise a whole lot of money because it's going to get real bad. So I knew probably like June of 2007 that the housing crisis was going to be a real thing and that we needed to start raising some money. So that actually started me down the path of like, do I really want to be in New York when all this hits? And so, I just chose the second largest financial, center in the country and moving to Charlotte. I didn't even know the banks were all located here. I just knew my future wife lived here. And so I was just going to.
Like, that's the only thing that matters.
That's the only thing that matters. I looked it up, like, what is that? Oh, Bank of America's here. Okay. Oh, Wells Fargo's here. Not even Wells Fargo at the time. But, so then went through the whole, craziness of the beginnings of the recession. And no nonprofits were hiring. Part of me becoming a consultant was that nonprofits weren't hiring anybody. So it's kind of funny. Some of the very people that interviewed me, back then for staff roles were people hiring me later to be a consultant to their organization, which is kind of a neat full circle moment. But I worked for a consultant locally who gave me my first, first job in it. Found I really loved it. I never had an issue or area of social good that I loved more than others. I had started down the path of arts and theater, and I certainly care about it, but I love all of it. And in fact, I really appreciate I'm a lifelong learner. I just I'm insatiable about learning things. So the opportunity to work with clients, where every new client is an opportunity. It's like it's becoming a micro expert in something. I get to study that work and figure out something about it. I bring my knowledge base of having worked with 225 plus organizations over the last 12 years. So there's definitely common traits of different organizations, but just recently started working with an organization, did not know anything about its mission area, and it was a total opportunity to learn. And I nerd out about it. I really love that aspect of it. So when I stumbled into consulting, I just got the bug. I was like, this is what I think this is my life's work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just fall into it.
Yeah.
I know your story of, first date, right? Talking about the things that you would maybe like to do. And, it's kismet like that, right? It's, the right time, right thing.
Yeah.
And you look back and you say, gosh, that's a whole thing opened up as a result of that. I do a talk about branching trees, the idea that your life is a branching tree. And as you walk out on the branch, you're taking choices. You're saying, okay, I'm going to go on this branch and not this branch. And then that branches out. And pretty soon you can look back and you can see all the choices you made that got you to where, and sometimes you don't even know their choices, right? Like what major you choose in college, or to go on a first date with somebody, a blind date, take an opportunity. All of those things are sometimes things that you don't even think about later because they didn't amount to much. And sometimes they're life-changing.
Yeah.
And so you get far enough out on the tree, and then you can look back and say, okay, these are all the choices. And then you can see that the tree ends at some point, right? That there's like more choices to make, but that it's not endless, that you're not just walking out forever into, and you start to get smarter. Like these choices actually have weight behind them. And I would say, though, that like finding consulting was just one of those branches, just like moving to this town instead of that town, or this major, this college, whatever. Had no idea that it would be so formative to my life.
Yeah.
But here I am. And I'm really just, I feel like I found what my life's calling is, to do. And that doesn't mean that I'm always have certainty. Doesn't mean that every day I wake up springing out of bed, like ready to take on the day. So it's hard. It's hard for everybody. And I might, evolve and change some of how I show up in the world as time goes on. But I think, I think about all the other branches I could have taken. Like, this is a pretty great branch. I got to be pretty happy with, I'm pretty satisfied with how things worked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Out of all these years, this is the first time I've heard your origin
Heard the story. Okay, well, very good. Well, my job is to hear other people's origin story. So I think it's only podcasts where people explore that aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, entrepreneurship. The idea of deciding to do something, to take on something. Like, there's usually an origin story for everybody in some form or fashion. And I also really love that aspect of particularly founder-led organizations. Like, there's some catalytic thing. Right? There's some moment of creation that from which all things spring. And being able to tap into that and sort of build, make sure that's a touchstone, make sure that's something that you can revisit, because you get energy from it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We always love the climb. Like, the climb is what matters. It's what people love.
Yeah.
So.
You've been such a huge part of our origin story.
Yes.
And we were bragging on you prior to our last session, just because like you've been such a solid voice, a marketplace voice for us. We're deeply rooted in our faith, and like our faith community have been like super encouraging for us and all the things, but on the marketplace side of things, you've been like that voice that has been very, played a very critical role in helping us to see the path at times and bring language to certain things. And you didn't just stop with, okay, these are participants of my cohort.
Right.
And then once the cohort is over, it's done, the work is finished, but you've like been committed not just to Hope Vibes and its mission, but to us as leaders and visionaries. And I don't know, I feel like we got like preferential treatment. Like, I don't think everybody
it's hard,
has gotten the same kind of benefit that we've gotten to have from the Josh Jacobson.
No, you're too kind.
Why?
Yeah, why? Yeah, why you, right? Well, I mean, if you don't know already, you should know how extraordinary you are. So, I think so much of your authenticity and how you show up, your sincere and aligned way in which you do the work that you do, the critical space that you're disrupting. I mean, it's kind of a perfect storm in my book of, we have a kind of monoliths of homelessness response and, addressing the needs of the unhoused. and it's a space that hasn't had a lot of disruption, a lot of new ways of thinking.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely one of those spaces that I felt, certainly from a local, statewide perspective, there was a need for individuals to come in and sort of shake things up. I think you're a great combination of creative new ways of thinking, new ways of doing, but also the building of brand. And it's really a space that I've come to appreciate. I think I was sharing, we're doing a lot more brand work with our clients. We are known as a strategic planning type of institution. You come to us when you have a need for a partner, a thought partner to kind of think through and beyond, maybe overcoming challenges or harnessing opportunities. We believe that, building the movement of people that buy in and believe into you as leaders, your organization as an institution, that is really the difference maker. There's a lot of authentic, thoughtful, emotionally connected people in the world. Their ability to get the buy-in and belief of community to us is really what differentiates different types of founders. So there's a lot of founders out there really well-meaning. Just thinking about an organization just doing tremendous work, and can't seem to break through, can't seem to get sort of buy-in from others. And it's that brand building, communication, the way in which you build followership. Those were all so apparent, even back when just meeting you, right? And I also believe that you are also kind of the exception to the rule, if you will. That sometimes the founder personalities and the brand built by the individuals is so strong that it's an asset in and of itself. And what we're often, and I'll probably share today is, the idea of how do we backfill roles, how do we build an institution, how do we build operational best practice around, for the long haul, that, once all the momentum starts to slow a little bit, it's usually, it's kind of the meat and potatoes of the nonprofit story. We've talked about sort of your unique story, your unique brand, your unique energy, being a brand unto itself, and maybe that how to create separation between that and Hope Vibes, and and that's not for everybody, right? Yeah. That's not everyone has that ability, right? Not everybody is charismatic. Not everybody is naturally positioned to lead people. So those are all the things that I interview lots of people. I talk to I'm in front of 225 clients. You can do the math. Several thousand probably interviews, talks with people. And so, it becomes a function of being able to quickly assess and kind of get to know people and understand who they are. And it's so apparent in meeting you, what exceptional people you are. So, I think that's special. That isn't something you can teach. That's just something that's that sort of it factor. I certainly sensed that when we met. Everyone did. So. You're referring to Cultivate, the incubator that we ran for 4 years, and you had 22 organizations go through it, and we had annualized cohorts. It's just crazy now thinking about it. We built this annualized model, and there was coaching, and there was just so much intentionality around it. It was really a way for us to try to be as efficient as possible. We were doing a lot of work individually with organizations and finding ourselves doing more training than strategy work, and so this idea of kind of building a cohort. Well, now everybody's got cohorts. It's the way of the world. Back then, there really wasn't anyone doing it, particularly with founder-led, community-based organizations. And so you were selected, one of 6 organizations selected by a panel that included some of the who's who of local philanthropy, who all saw in your application, but in just getting to know you as people, that, at that stage, what differentiates and what is likely to lead to success is the people behind the organization. And what they knew is that, at some point that needs to have a business model behind it. Yeah. I think somebody wrote a book about that. Oh yeah, you guys wrote the book about it. You wrote the book about how to make sure that, there's a infrastructure behind, that there's a methodology behind it. And so it wasn't just me. It's a lot of people in this town who believe in you both. And, it's one of the reasons I like to check in with you guys too, is just to remind you of that.
Well, we appreciate it for real. And yes, it's interesting though, because it's like, we know, we can feel, we just know certain things at the same time, just like this podcast is unstoppable visionary. Like there's things that seem to always try to stop us.
Sure. Yeah.
And like, it just, even in putting this together, like, I mean, there's stuff that is like, God, why now is this happening right at this season when this is supposed, and so the goal of this though is to even when stuff starts coming your way, our way, to push through, because we know that there's something inside of us and those who are listening that is like, it needs to come out. It's supposed to be out. It's supposed to have impact. It's supposed to be in the world, be something that cultivates something bigger.
Yep.
And so, we need voices. We need people along the way to be like, no.
Yeah.
Keep going. You got to keep going.
That's
it.
Do it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, we love folks who cheerlead, who love us, inherently and without barrier. And so we're often hearing, people kind of believing into us who maybe don't, it's like my parents think I'm the best consultant in town, right? It's like, that's great.
It's like, you're supposed to.
It's great. Yeah, you're supposed to.
So they're not wrong.
This is
true.
Very kind.
Very kind. But it's nice, it's nice to have those sort of cheerleaders and fans who, believe. Those are all around us, and they're important because they're really backing our play. We're even not knowing what we're up against, right?
Yeah.
It's like just that sort of complete belief. But it's important that we have, informed belief as well. People who kind of know what we're up against, or to kind of come alongside us at times, just to say, look, there's a way around this. I know it feels like more than a speed bump. It feels like a brick wall. It feels like, maybe it feels like a complete stoppage to the thing that we were on our way to. And so, how to work through those, barriers. That's, one of the things that gets me up every day is, believing that that's my life's work, is really to help others unstick themselves out of, whatever the thing is. Because I have never had, a mission or area of social good that is like the thing I most want to do only. I believe in the people. Believe in the people who feel that way. So it's, I find founders and others who just feel called to do something specific. I think they're amazing. And so wanting to help them see the bigger picture and see what's out there. So I commit to, that sort of exploration of, what are those business underpinnings that, halt us. That's more often than the stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's more often funding or lack of visibility or lack of operational capacity or facility, or, it's like stuff like that. It's all tangible stuff that it's not because our methodology isn't right. It's not because people don't believe that we don't have our, sort of believers and people who buy into what we're doing. It's not the impact we're creating.
Right,
It's like, it's almost easier when it's that. You can point to it and say, well, look, what you're doing isn't worthy of investment. It's so much harder when you're doing all the right stuff, and yet there's like all these barriers that are just business model, framework. It's all, the business of the nonprofit instead of the, the special sauce of the nonprofit. So, just recognizing, in some ways belittling it a little bit, say these are just structural things that can be overcome. Doesn't mean they're not hard. Doesn't mean they're not brick walls, but it does mean that, there are ways through them.
Yeah. And
if we can wake up every day and say the core of what we do is valid, we are bringing joy and hope into the lives of people. This has worth. This is something that lots of people believe in. And, because they're not living with us, they can't know, the challenges that we have in implementing this. It looks effortless. And that's one of the things that I know we've talked about. You guys make it look so effortless. It's like, man, it's like, well, how do you let the world in? How do you don't want to let the world too in, right? You don't want them to see like you sweat. It's like this in-between space of how do you help people appropriately see your needs and appropriately So it's all that stuff that, man, the school of hard knocks, right? You wish you knew it day one, but it comes with time, right?
Yeah.
So with that, so you've helped a lot of nonprofit leaders and business leaders at the foundational level when they're first getting started, but you've also had the opportunity to walk alongside a lot of leaders as they scale.
Yes.
And seeing the challenges that come along with that, what would you say is one of or some of the most common mistakes that leaders make that you would say, hey, avoid this at all costs?
And it's so hard because, when times are good, when the world is loving you and the light is being shown on you, it is the hardest time to hear, hey guys, this isn't always going to be, right?
Yeah.
And so we often find ourselves working with founders who are kind of in the love light, right? The community, we've talked about we use the term the shiny penny, and it's a belittling term because we do it, as a community to the organization. It's not what the founders of the organizations do, but we tend to choose organizations and say, this is one for us to back.
Yeah.
So you're going to start seeing those 5 and 6 figure investments. You're going to see time on the news. You're going to see all this sort of love that's shown. And then there's a seasonality to that starts to fade, and we move on to the next shiny penny. And what happens to all those shiny pennies? What happens to that organization that was 5 years ago, was everybody's jam, and where is it now? We don't have kind of staying power as a community.
Yeah.
But there's also a little bit of like the ease with which that goes sometimes the challenge for the founder is, it just seems like I don't have to do much, and it's raining interest.
Yep.
And so it's hard to kind of get in the middle of that. And I think we talked about this back in 2019 and then 21 and 23. It's like every couple of years we come together to talk about like, there's a sunrise and a sunset to that. And what ends up being the kind of lasting piece is what we've learned from that journey. So I think one of the things is just that it's probably not going to last forever. And so to start building the best practices, a kind of structure around when times are good. That's the hardest time, when it's easy to be doing things, to say, hey, let's go build boring stuff. Let's go build a staffing plan. Let's go build a risk assessment to our organization. Like, those are all tough things to hear. So we tend to find that founders know when something's changing. Like, it used to be easier than this. And so it'll start to dawn on them that there's maybe something has shifted. And so how do you bring kind of good best practice at that point? So I think that's one of the things, just knowing that it's not always going to be the way it's always been. And then the other big thing is just exhaustion that comes with, sort of, I think of it as the 7-year sort of horizon. So the first couple years, it's just like no stopping you. You got all the energy in the world.
Yeah.
Next 3 years, that starts to plateau. You start thinking, gosh, is it always going to be like this? Like, is it always us? And then there's like 2 years on the back end to get to that 7-year where you start to realize, oh, I need to backfill. I need somebody. I used to do this. And it's kind of is a part of as the community's interest sunsets a little bit, the natural momentum that was carrying you starts to slow. That it's what you need to most be focused on is how to find the next chapter in that story. But if you're busy doing the work of your mission and if you're driving the hope tank, or if you're the one leading, the thing, that's taking you away from solving the challenge.
Yeah.
And so what that sort of transition is offboarding the things that don't require you to be doing them. If someone else can be doing these things, I need to backfill those things so that I can continue to stay on the strategic horizon. Like, I got to be solving tomorrow's challenges today. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge is that founders, tend to be more heroic leadership than distributed leadership. It's just inherent in the entrepreneurship. I'm the same way, guys. I mean, the reality is my journey with Next Stage has been to, we've scaled up and scaled down, and, often because I've placed myself in the center of that story and scaffolded around myself. And over the last couple of years, we've shifted to more of a team-based approach to the work. And oh my gosh, it's making all the difference. My life, I'm able to remain really excited. There's been varying levels of my own enthusiasm about the work I do. My life's calling. Like, I can say it's both my life's calling, and there's days I wake up and I really hate my life's calling. I wish I wasn't doing it. So that backfilling, that sort of building of team approach, so that you can stay looking at what's next and problem solving tomorrow's challenges. That's probably the best advice I can give to a founder early days. And the challenge is, if you're riding high, right, if things are really good, it's really hard to hear that. It's really hard to hear that. There's a brick wall, I promise you, in your future. Yeah. So start now thinking about it. We hear that, but then sometimes you have to bang your head against the brick wall before it kind of wakes you up to it.
Yeah, that's good. Hey guys, I needed to sneak into this little podcast real quick and let you guys know of something that we have for you. You know this is the Unstoppable Visionary podcast, but did you know that there was an Unstoppable Visionary book? Yes, there it is right here. This is an exclusive copy for you by my wife here, Adrienne Threatt. She authored this book, and this book is filled with insights, filled with her journey, filled with the processes and the thoughts that we have toward how to prevent burnout, how to keep things going when things are at its worst, but you can't stop, you won't stop. Get it. Yeah, we can't do it. Can't do that. We can't stop. We got to keep it moving, because your vision, the passion, the things that are inside you that make you unique need to come out, and they can't be stopped. So I want you to go get you a copy of this book. The link for it will be in the show notes, but you can also go to givehopedaily.com. Get your copy today.
I think for us too, I think we heard it, but it was like so hard to try to navigate. Like, how do we continue to ensure the current mission of what we were stewarding was sustained, while also trying to build something else? Yes. And then when time passed and it's like, oh no, for real, we're not the shiny penny. Like, but still we got this thing. Like, how do did we miss our moment for the pivots that needed to take place? Like, what would you say to leaders who maybe they do feel like they missed their pivotal moment to make certain shifts, and now they're like in between, almost like two worlds,
figuring it out?
Yeah.
Well, it's important that we take stock of our assets. To think of our organization and ourselves as an inventory opportunity. So it's like, what are my assets? What am I working with? Certainly there's money in the bank, there's materials, equipment, whatever it might be. But it's hard to conceptualize people's belief in you or constituency, followership. We can say, okay, how many followers do I have on social media? That approximates it. But I can say these two organizations both have 5,000 followers. This organization has devotion, and this organization has surface level engagement. And so there's the difference there of really understanding, what is it that you've built over this time? Because I think those are assets that don't tend to disappear tomorrow. Those are things that have more lasting power. We want as people to believe in institutions and people, and our trust and belief is really waning. There's all these studies that are suggesting that people are becoming more pessimistic overall. Wow. But we are hopeful in our hearts. Like, we, as humans, we aspire for love and, belief in our potential as a people, both individually and collectively. And so we're hungry for that. Like, we really want and need that. And so those assets that are built over time of belief, of people who believe in you, those don't wane, those don't disappear overnight. And so we recognize that that's a platform upon which to build. So I don't really believe that there's like a moment. It's not like I said no to that opportunity and all the rest of it. I knew somebody who felt like they had a shot at being in the NFL and they just missed there was a draft opportunity, right? They had a tryout, they didn't perform, and they didn't get, so they could actually pinpoint. They can say, you know what, I could have been a contender and it didn't happen, and I can literally point to that day. And one might argue, hey, if there were other opportunities, you could have gone, but okay, I get it. There's a day that's not the way it is for most businesses, for most nonprofits. There's not some pivotal moment or season or quarter or month that was a turning point. In fact, it's all, a lot of it is about staying in the work, right? So, but it's also about modifying and changing up how you communicate the work. So, I really believe that vision is the asset of the founder-led organization.
Yeah.
We've talked about this, that it's the agency, the really large nonprofits that are really risk adverse. They're unwilling to stake themselves out on some big ambition because they're, more system-like. They approximate government.
Yeah.
The larger you get, the more you're like government. And if nonprofits are meant to be an alternative to government, we're deputizing nonprofits to do the work that government would do. That's why we're, tax deductible. And if we're deputizing organizations to do this work, then we also want them to function differently than government. We don't want them to be just like government.
Yeah.
And so we tend to find the largest organizations really don't do vision very well. They're not inspiring people. They can tell the story of their impact. It's inspirational for the individual that's served, but not for the ambition. Not to say, hey, we're trying to eradicate homelessness in our community, or we're trying to disrupt the way in which we do things. So the founder has this potential to sort of cast vision that gets people to buy in and kind of follow them. But I think and we talked about this, but I think the important piece of it is you also have an opportunity to define what forward progress towards that vision looks like. So you get to define that. No one puts that on you. And one of the challenges, I think, is that an organization gets to a point where they start to perform like other nonprofits. Like they feel held to the same standard that same risk-adverse nonprofit.
Yeah.
While you have set, your own vision quest, right? So what does forward progress look like when you've surfaced a really big, hairy, audacious goal that you're going to go out, right? What does that look like? And can you, if you cast that and it was too ambitious for resources, scale that back, right? No one is going to punish you for having, figured out what forward progress continues to look like. And so in that way, I think the founder-led organization has more agency to define sort of what success looks like, how to help the constituency understand that, we were gangbusters for a while, and then it slowed down a little bit. It's going to look a little different. This goes, that goes. But it's all in service to a much bigger vision of where we're going. The 10-year vision we talked about of like eradicating homelessness, that's your enduring vision. That's when we accomplish that, we're out of business. Like there's no need for hope vibes if there's no homelessness, right? But how close can we get over the next 10 years? And what are the next 3 years in service to that 10-year? 3-year plans that get us to a 10-year horizon. What is the next year going to look like? What's the next month, quarter look like? You get to define that. When you're setting big ambition vision, you get to define what a 10-year horizon looks like, or 3-year or 1-year horizon. And I think that's the place to really focus, for the founders who are, there's a degree of savviness that comes with being able to translate forward progress in ways that are your brand of it, but that others can respect. And I think this is the big piece of how you become a part of the ecosystem, how you get adopted into that. You're no longer a startup because you've hung around, you've done the work, like you're approaching your 10-year horizon. You made it. What you've made is as much the impact that you've created as it is the admiration and buy-in of your peers, that the ecosystem believes you deserve to exist and that you are a net positive, and that we are going to reach out to you because you're, somebody who is a thought leader and leader in our community. Like that's really what success looks like often, is just maturing into that ecosystem, but it's never by adopting other people's processes. It's about holding to your way forward. And that's what people respect, is that you did it yourself. You did it on your own terms.
I love that.
Yeah. One of the things that stands out to me that you helped us do was bring language to some of the things that we were doing or was in us to do. We just didn't know that there was like vocabulary for it.
That's right.
And some of that still sticks with us today, to be able to communicate our creative processes for innovation and problem solving. Like we didn't realize that we were were piloting, a innovative idea to address a solution.
Right.
We were testing it.
Yes.
And then we were prepping it to be scaled. We didn't know we were doing all of that.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's important to have that language, but oftentimes for some leaders that kind of fell into a space of social impact, they don't always have that that background knowledge.
Totally.
How important do you think it is to have language that translates in a way that's meaningful, not even just to the people who believe in you, but also the people who potentially will fund you?
That's right. Fund you, partner with you, or even just vouch for you, right? There's a lot of folks that never will write a check, will never engage you, but hold sway over the perception. You know, who speaks well of you, who, you know, in a room would say, oh yeah, Hope Vibes, they're amazing leaders, amazing founders. So getting that sort of buy-in. So yeah, I mean, you know, this is where you talked about anyone can start a nonprofit, right? You know, so it's always a little surprising. I do a talk for college students. It's like, how hard do you think it is to start a nonprofit? It's like, oh, it's got to be pretty hard. It's like, nope. The IRS gives them out like candy, right? It's like, if you file the paperwork, if you attach the check, boom, you've got a nonprofit organization, right? So like the achieving a nonprofit, there's no class you have to take. There's no, you know, requirements really. So it'd be like, hey, I want to be an accountant. And I'm just signing. I'm everyone's accountant now. So go ahead and send me your taxes, right? It's like, should I have studied something? Like, yes, there's certified public accountants. CPAs are a vetted process by which that was really what Cultivate was about. Was you know, could you get some sort of thing that demonstrated that you studied, that you learned, that you did the work? Because just about anybody can hang a shingle and say, hey, I'm the founder of a nonprofit organization. So what are you doing in order to sort of build your credibility in that space? And yeah, the language is a part of it, right? Some call it consultant speak, or, you know, the sort of, but there is a way that we talk, right? It's, you know, it's unhoused and not homeless. It's, you know, it's this lived experience and, you know, community voice. It's this language that we use around that is important. You know, it's important because it demonstrates some amount of study, some amount of caring about that. You know, it's not just about like, hey, we're doing good work and we're deserving of the investment of others. It's recognizing that no one is deserving of anything. You know, we have to go out and earn that buy-in. And that means that somebody needs to find your website and explore who you are and vouch and decide, like, this is a credible organization. And that's not always going to be a judgment of whether your programming works or not. You know, having effective programming is just your foot in the door. Like, that's not, tons of organizations have great effective programming. Doesn't mean that they're going to be sustained. So the same is true about any business. I might make the best bagels in town, but if I don't do good marketing, if I'm not in a shop in a good location, if it's messy when you come into my shop and no one wants to buy bagels from me, like, it doesn't matter how good my bagels taste. At the end of the day, if I haven't done the wrapping on it all, no one should expect me, you know, riding around with a bicycle with bagels trying to sell them. You know, no one should expect success if I'm not doing it the way that's vetted by sort of how we do it. That said, before we jump in, I will say disrupting the heck out of that is important, right? So because there's a lot of rules about nonprofits that I think are hogwash and, you know, the sort of maverick nature. And we talked a lot about this, like disrupting the models. The things that are supposed to be best practices and are only best practices because, you know, large risk-averse organizations decide they were, right? How are we? So there's a riding the line there of like doing the appropriate amount of kind of fitting in and trying to demonstrate your understanding and acclimating. New kid in school, I got to figure stuff out, right? I got to kind of know the clicks. I got to know what's happening. But that's never to like lose yourself in that, is to stay true to who you are.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a powerful perspective and way to, I mean, you have to do it that way, right? You have to know who you are as an organization. And in order to, one, be able to do it long term. Like, like I think for us, it's like if we fully like transition into something that we like, the bigger organizations, that kind of systemic ones, we would definitely not still be here where we are. And there's some days where we're like, and we are still, you know, pretty authentic in my opinion. Hope Vibes is pretty still authentic who we are. Like, man, like you said, some days I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I don't want to do it. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to just be, you know, one of those big agencies that, you know, like has steady revenue? Well, you know, and this is the importance of paying attention to the ecosystem and kind of what's happening in the world, being vetted and known, then we have big disruptions like 2025, 26, right?
Yeah.
Like we are about,
Yeah.
it's really going to be bad in 2027. You know,
Yeah.
like next year is going to be bad enough, but you know, the federal policy changes that are like a snowball rolling down the mountain, right? And it's getting bigger and bigger, and we can see it coming at us.
Yeah.
That is going to disrupt the heck out of everybody, but especially those large institutions.
Yeah.
You know, imagine losing 40% of your budget.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that when you're a $20 million organization. Like, how are
That's-
you deleting $8 million
That's
of your
wild.
organization? Now,
Yeah,
imagine the
that
change
is-
management, right? To go from a $20 million organization to maybe a $15 or $12 million organization. To have to do that, you know, in a matter of months or, you know, even years.
Yeah.
Only to know that there could come a time where that will change and you'll be building yourself back up again.
Yeah.
There's organizations locally that had to wind down some things during COVID and then have to dial them back up. I mean, what a huge undertaking to do all of that. The nimbleness with which you're positioned, you know, as not emerging, like you've emerged, right? You are community based, you are nimble, founder-led organizations. Like if I had to switch places, you know, and wake up in the CEO seat of a huge hulking agency nonprofit today, I wouldn't switch.
Yeah.
Even with the stable, quote unquote, stable funding that
Yeah.
exists there.
Yeah.
So that some of that, you know, sort of maverick energy, like I'm excited to have this conversation because I'm like, man, we need hope vibes. We need hope vibes. We need, it's like there should be like a Batman symbol that's gone into the air, right? That like when times get rough, like you came really to prominence, I would argue, during the beginnings of the pandemic and sort of how we were addressing, like the sort of brand was built but was accelerated, you know, during times of challenge. And I think that's really, you know, founders often thrive, you know, founder-led organizations thrive when the chips are down because it's when we're most looking for new ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to lose 40% of stuff, who's going to fill the gaps and how will they do it creatively and, you know, with minimal investment? Right? It's the scrappy, you know, emerging organizations.
What is your thoughts on, and we can get back to the questions, but what is your thoughts on with like the understanding of like, you know, you have funding limitations, especially now we're seeing that in the nonprofit space, but from the beginning of a nonprofit introducing like income generation models that are not donor based, not even grant based, but they are things that can be generated by the nonprofit from the beginning. I know, I asked that question because what we know now, if we knew that back then when we started, we would probably have introduced that somehow.
Day one or early.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, we didn't fully.
Well, I mean, because for one, we weren't intending to start a nonprofit.
This is true.
Well, right, exactly.
This is true. This is
Exactly.
true.
And then once we realized, oh, we need some other income drivers, it was like,
Yeah, how do we do that now that we're so committed to?
Right.
So I think that is the sort of the challenge is when we start with mission and programming instead of starting with sustainability and sort of revenue generation. Because we can find ourselves sort of pulled forward, like all that grant funding comes with it, like we have to be doing stuff for those grants. And it's all programmatic. And so we're spending all of our waking moments doing that. And so when do we have time for our, you know, side hustle? When do we have time for, you know, building the sustainable framework? So this is true for so many organizations. And I think, you know, it's going to be a good time for a lot of organizations to say, hey, look, we're going to scale back a little bit on the world's expectations of us programmatically. And that is not failure.
That is a great thing to say.
We are recapitalizing. Here's a new word to
good.
give you guys. Your 2026 word is recapitalization.
I love it.
And that's the idea that, like, look, we can't be dependent on institutions.
Yep.
Who can?
Yep.
Right? And this is not just for emerging, recently emerging nonprofit organizations, founder-led organizations. We cannot depend on institutions, full stop, period.
Period.
Right? We're experiencing right now a failure of institutions.
This is true. When the whole situation with the SNAP benefits happened, I was like,
in my country?
Do I need to grow a garden? I think
I need to figure out where my food's coming from.
How am I going to eat if I need, you know?
That's it.
You're not even on SNAP.
I know, I'm not even on SNAP, but it's just the idea of it.
Hey,
like, my God, like,
if that's the canary in the coal mine,
yeah,
right?
that's
Exactly.
What
What do we need to worry about? Well, it's so true. I was actually just interviewing a researcher recently because we were, building a study, and there were publicly accessible data. And she shared, there's a community right now that's uncertain whether publicly accessible data is trustworthy going forward, and that we might need to figure out other things. So all these things that we've assumed that all this data sources would be there for us, right? So that everything is being re-examined, is scary, right? I mean, it's scary that we're living it. It also is, there's an opportunity in it. And so as we think about recapitalization for Hope Vibes, for every organization to scale back a little bit and say, hey, look, we need to figure out how we're going to sustain our engine when the disruption is not just to us but to everybody, right? There's the pandemic was a good example of it, and now we're experiencing another type of, there can be a hurricane, and there can be federal policy change, and there can be a pandemic. These are all disruptive things. This idea of earned revenue, I think is just so critical. As we think about, if part of the opportunity is to build constituency, what helps separate founders and their organizations is people's belief and having followership and having people who believe into the organization. Could that be someone buying a bagel from you as much as it is somebody coming out to do a serve day for you? Yes, it can. And if we can build customer relationships with people where there's a value proposition that we're able to provide value in exchange for capital, and that is somebody who gets to know, oh yeah, you know us this way. You don't even know about Hope Vibes. You don't even know that there's this other thing that we do, or you know about it, but it's not what drew you in. You're coming to us because we write great books, or we have a great podcast, or we, whatever the thing is that we're doing that is drawing people in. All of it is going to be ultimately in service to your mission, and recognizing that the nonprofit is just one expression of your mission, and particularly your mission. What I've come to realize about your mission is that it's so much more than, give hope daily, right? It's hope based. It manifested as a nonprofit organization called Hope Vibes that looked to, create innovative solutions for, unhoused people. But that is just one expression of your mission, right? And now we get to know your mission and to get to hear about your mission and to be able to fund it, not because I wrote a check or I gave you a contribution, but because you've created a mechanism by which every coffee is one step closer, every book, every transaction I do.
That's so good.
Yeah, and that's the next horizon, right, is to introduce your mission, and the mission being so much bigger, the vision then. Imagine the vision on that mission. Yeah. Right? If the mission is so expansive, the vision is going to be freaking huge, right? And that's amazing that we would get to that place.
I think that's how it becomes unstoppable, right?
Darn right.
It becomes unstoppable when you've created such a big ecosystem that just feeds itself.
Yes.
And the vision is now not just fueled by just internal drive and motivation, but it starts getting fueled by the people that's connected to it. It's fueled by resources that's coming from different streams. It's fueled by other people being motivated by the vision, and then the impact that it has on other people. And so I think a lot of times people who are, visionaries and founders, they are really excited to get the mission off the ground, but burn out very quickly.
So true. Yeah, the burnout, I think, because there's, you're getting this reward mechanism. We do this, we receive support, so we need to do more of that.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about, sort of that sunsets a little bit. Well, what comes in next? What's the next iteration? That's true of a marriage. That's true of friendships. That's true of a job. That's true of everything, right? It's not going to be the honeymoon period, right? And that fades. And then it's the work, right? Yep. The work of staying in it, right? And some people are built for that and some aren't, right? And that the ingenuity that comes with the opportunity to problem solve. And that's why I believe so strongly in both of you, because you rise to the problem solving challenge, right? We talked about building a methodology for it and a strategy. And that was pointed at the mission of Hope Vibes. But I know that process is inherent in you. That's a part of your DNA. That's how that hope is driven from the idea that we are never so far away from the potential of forward progress, whatever that is, that we have enough, we have it inside us to be able to do the things. And we're going to draw that inspiration from our faith journey, from the people that surround us, from all the things. But at the end of the day, it's always darkest before the dawn, right? We're going to get there. So that belief, that inherent optimism, and it can be so hard when pessimism starts to come in, and it becomes harder and harder and harder to lift that sort of optimism into it. And that's why I'm excited for your path this coming year into the future, this recapitalization, and this way of thinking about earned revenue strategies, ways that people can come alongside you. I always hated when people said liking simply on Facebook won't change the world. I'm like, what a horrible thing to tell people, right? That any action doesn't have, that's untrue. Anyways, if I like something on Facebook, it means your content's going to show up to my followership. Someone's going to find you through that. What if we told people, buying coffee doesn't change the world? Well, there's organizations out there that are using coffee, that are using all sorts of things to fuel their so I think we're about to experience a very unique time, because it's going to, I hate to be the bearer of bad news if people don't know. It's going to get bad, right? It's going to be real bad here for the next couple of years. Out of that is going to come new ways of doing things. And I think, stronger, more resolute, more individual driven, more earned revenue driven sort of models are going to be what thrives through this time. And I bet it's not going to be organizations that are, large agency nonprofits that are going to be the ones, with that ingenuity. I think it's going to be organizations like Hope Vibes.
So if y'all didn't hear,
darn right.
If y'all didn't hear, the prophet has spoken.
There it is. Prognostication. Josh Jacobson. Yep. Where's my envelope?
That's right.
The envelope says Hope Vibes. Yeah. Well, I also think just this podcast, giving advice to others, the book that you recently published. I mean, all of those things, that is more opportunity for you all to step into the space. Your experience is so valuable to share with other people, like the slings and arrows and the challenges, but also, how to work through that, how to overcome that, but also to be, capable of being vulnerable to share. This is what this is like, so. Our carefully, designed and stewarded identities and brand that, is meant to attract people to us sometimes also hides the fact that there's a lot of adversity that we've overcome. There's a lot of stuff that we don't talk about. And so having a platform like this to be able to, share that wisdom with others is, I think, a real gift you're giving folks.
And I think people need to know that, though. I think one of the things that, we knew, because we had, to a degree, people, communicating to what it means to be founder-led and things like that. But I need people to know for real, if you, the mission, the thing that's inside of you that needs to come out, it's supposed to come out, but just know it's going to cost you something.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to cost something. And we want to help people be prepared to some degree.
That's right.
When, you have illnesses in the family, or you have things that goes on, you have triplets. You know what I'm saying? You still how do you it's navigating through that space. You're for us, our sole income was the nonprofit, was Hope Vibes. And then for a good year and a half, we weren't able to do any grants.
Yeah.
Because we were focusing on little ones.
Exactly.
And it's how do you continue to move forward? I feel like only by God's grace we were able to claw and still have something. But it was one of those things where we had to, say, we can only give as much as we can give right now.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The world out there might be like, hey, we need you to serve day every week. I'm like, bro, we can't give you.
The reality is, though, people understand.
Yeah.
And I think that's the goodwill that you build in the relationships. That's why relationships are the most important piece here is stewarding the relationship, stewarding the people who believe in you. Because, when y'all announced that, you were expecting triplets, Kaylin and I were like, okay, or whoever I was talking to at the time.
Did you say, what are they going to do?
My first instinct is I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm so happy for them, but also, wow, that's a lot to undertake, right? So everybody was probably eyes wide, wow. They're, I mean, Adrienne,
Yes.
they're gonna figure it out, right? They're gonna work through it, right? And we're gonna be there for them. We're gonna support them because we're all just people first. Like
Yeah.
we're not our institutions.
That's
we're
good.
people that are trying to do good in the world. You know.
That's good.
Do you think that sometimes, especially if you're the shiny new penny, do you think that sometimes leaders scale too fast?
I do, sure, yeah. I mean, I think sometimes we're urged forward to keep building. You know, every grant you get is for something new, a new thing, and it's like, well, what's funding the thing you got funded for last time? Like, where's the steady stream of funding or volunteers or, you know, whatever the resources are to help it? So, yeah, I think, you know, scaling too quickly is definitely one of the challenges. You know, for so many of the folks who are probably listening, you know, if they're founders themselves or thinking about starting a nonprofit, I mean, it's almost like a be careful what you wish for, because not everybody becomes the shiny penny. You know, it's like most organizations that are probably listening to this would love to be the organization that gets a $50,000 grant from this organization, $100,000 investment here, to get, you know, to be known by, you know, all of the local philanthropy, right? It's all success. So it's hard not to, during times of adversity, look back at it and say, like, you know, I wish that was different, or we probably wouldn't wish that it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Like that all was
Yeah.
helped form everything, right? You know, it's just that we wish we were more prepared for it as a phase of a multi-phase process,
Yeah.
right? So I think that scaling sort of piece of it is sometimes because momentum is pushing us forward. Grow. You know, another community, another, you know, part of town, somebody wants this. A partner is like, hey, well, and so it's like, this is what success looks like. These are doors that are open. We need to walk through those doors.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know what doors to not walk through.
And a lot of times it's the ecosystem, the system itself is designed to kind of push you forward
Yes.
faster than it. I mean, you know, you get typically grants for programming, not grants for staffing, right?
Never
you know what I'm
for
saying?
capacity building. No,
Right.
that's
And
exactly
so-
right.
And so it's
And they
designed.
want you to do more.
They
Want you to do
right.
more.
And it's like,
Yep,
hold on.
It has to be additive. It has
Right.
to add to, yep. And so who is caring for you as, you know, as founders? Who's caring for you? So there, you know, there are those out there. There's, you know, funders, there's, you know, institutions, people, finding those folks, you know, and that, you know, being an advocate for more capacity building.
Yeah.
You know, it's the year in Cultivate, or it's the, you know, sort of mentorship or coaching or a business model, someone investing into your professional development, right? That wins the day so much more so than fractionally more money to do your programming. That really isn't sustainable long term unless you're caring for yourself and your own energy, but also building, you know, that. So you're exactly right. We need more capacity building support. And, you know, it's hard because, you know, here's $100. Like, it's like we want that to be programmatic. We want that to be mission.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to help people understand that not every dollar is going to be spent that way.
Right. It can't.
And
It can't be
can't
spent.
be.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's in the business world, it's not. You would not expect every dollar to go to the food.
That's right. Yep. There's staff. There's all these. Exactly. And that there's a business and that there's profitability.
Right.
So there's also an expectation that someone
Right.
who might be taking that as profit or might be rolling that into, you know, further investment.
Right.
So the bagel shop that makes great bagels,
Right.
you know, they're not out raising money for their next bagel shop.
Yeah.
They're taking that profitability and
Yeah.
they're investing it into the next thing. So
Yeah.
the fact that nonprofits, you know, aren't given opportunities to have profit
Yeah.
and, you know, particularly emerging organizations, early days, grassroots organizations, no one's investing into your infrastructure. They're only investing into your program.
Yeah.
So we have to find those fractional ways that we can take dollars and find ways to build it. It's a bit of a dance, right, over the first several years. You know, finding the folks that can kind of buy in for that sustainable revenue, that sort of capacity building support. It's great. There's a few institutions out there. There's some, you know, major gift donors. There's people who will believe in you. But I want to get back to earned revenue, right? Like build an earned revenue stream. No one can tell you how to spend that money, right? You sell a book, you have a class of people and they're giving you dollars. There's no earmarking. Just like I don't buy, we use the bagel shop. I'm bringing back all the Cultivate stuff.
Yeah.
Right. No
want
one,
a bagel,
as
by
I'm
the way.
buying bagels, no, right. I want a bagel. No one buys a bagel and says, okay, now these dollars I'm giving you can only
Yes.
be spent on more bagels.
Right. Right.
It's like, no, you don't get to tell me.
Exactly.
Like, you have a value exchange. You're hungry, you want a
Yes.
bagel, I'm giving you money.
Yeah.
I've decided it's a $4 bagel.
Yeah.
Where I've decided these are really good bagels. This is an $8 bagel.
Yeah.
And half of you aren't going to go away, but that's okay because now half of you are buying an $8 bagel. I don't have to produce as many bagels.
That's good.
I found a marketplace where $8 bagel sells to half as many people. I
Yeah.
could sell a $4 bagel to twice
Yeah.
as many people, but I'm going to run myself ragged doing a $4 bagel.
Yeah.
I need an $8 bagel, right? So you
Yeah.
find your marketplace, find the thing,
So good.
find that exchange, and inherent in that $8 bagel is you were selling them for $4, right? And now you're selling them for $8. Now there's $4 in
Yeah.
profit that you can now roll back into your enterprise.
Yeah.
You don't have to take that as you
Yeah.
can choose to take that as profit, or you can invest it in. Earned revenue is the way, and the pandemic got in the way of that for as you look at like Goodwill and the YMCA and like we never started nonprofits back in the day. Like all the 100-year nonprofits started with a social enterprise at its heart.
Yeah.
Because there was no such thing as giving. Like there was elective taxation. You're going to ask people to donate to something maybe around Christmas, but like that just didn't exist at the turn of the century. So you had to have a membership model gymnasium, YMCA, or you needed to have a thrift shop, Goodwill, or you needed to have some sort of value exchange in order to build your enterprise. And so they got really smart, about building that as the core identity. Like we know Goodwill to donate our, gently used items so that they can be sold. They're also doing tremendous workforce development work.
Yeah.
But not everybody knows that,
Yep.
right? On the street, Goodwill is where you
Yeah.
go to buy.
That's why I tell people. People always they be like, "Oh, I don't give my clothes to Goodwill because they make money." I'm like, "Bro, they do good work though. Like
They do
But
amazing.
they don't market it well.
but they don't
'cause
market it
people
well
don't
at
know.
all. Like they have.
That's right.
You're like, dude, Goodwill they do amazing stuff.
Yeah.
They are training people for free.
Yeah, and there's a shift. I mean, we've been talking with Goodwill about their Goodwill stores and
Yeah.
getting more people to understand because they had the disruption of the pandemic where, people, it was harder for them to transact that. But for the most part, earned revenue doesn't get disrupted the same way philanthropy does.
Yeah.
And so, there's more assurance that,
Yeah.
if I have a good bagel shop, if I'm selling books, I'm doing whatever I'm doing, that's going to sell, that's going to happen,
Yeah.
good times and bad. Like
Yeah.
there's going to be a normal revenue stream.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that, startup nonprofits anymore probably need to start there. They need
Yeah.
to start at that place.
I
And
agree.
I wish I knew that 10 years ago
No,
when we
that's-
were working together, but I
that's-
had it
yeah.
as an instinct, but now I really do believe that it's probably not just an instinct, like our systems are failing us. We
Yes.
need to have other ways to generate resources.
And we let so heavily, we still do, but like really heavy on like compassion.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people who want the services of like the Hope Tank, for example, now they struggle because there's like we have to associate a fee with it, whereas before we were running ourselves
we just
ragged,
run-
go
Absolutely.
everywhere
Going
at
everywhere.
no cost.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's costing us.
Yeah, right, exactly.
At no cost to
Yes.
anybody
Yes.
outside
Exactly.
of, we were absorbing all
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
costs. And if we had to do things differently now,
Yeah.
we would have.
Been upfront on the front end.
Yeah.
Like there's a cost to this. It's what we, talked about back in the day and now has become a best practice of, corporate volunteer engagement, right? So there was once upon a time where the company would say, hey, we have 20 volunteers and we're going to send them your way. And the full expectation was that you need volunteers. You're going to take our 20, manage them, having a day of service project, send them back to work. And the company wouldn't pay you for that. And then, one intrepid nonprofit was like, no, time out, y'all. If you want this to happen, you got to pay us. I think Habitat for Humanity was one of the great sort of designers of this, that their, sort of service project, come out, swing a hammer, build a house, that has a cost. And your church and your company and your civic group, you're going to pay for that cost.
Yeah.
In fact, if you want to do this every year, put it in your budget.
Yeah.
This is going to cost you $4,000 to have 25 people come out, because this is what it costs for us to do this work. And, that sort of understanding of the cost of that there's not really, the altruism. I want to volunteer, and so someone should accept my volunteerism. It's like, no, I need to actually pay to volunteer because someone has to manage me and train me, and I might never come back. I get a shirt, I get all this stuff, and then
Yeah.
I may never come back. What a loss. So all of that has been a big learning over the last 15 years, particularly in this community. And I think we've gotten to a place where we recognize nothing's free, right? There's nothing. And man, to what you just said, exactly, it's definitely not free because it's coming out of the founder. It's coming out of it's coming out of your energy and your chi, your ability to stay in this work.
Yeah.
And, we trade on that on our own. We might lose you if we don't sustain that.
Yeah.
So I think that's an evolving thing. Certainly folks like us get it and people who are in the know. But, we need to move a million metro, right? We need to get, people who don't wake up every day thinking about social good. And for them, that sort of idea of I want to volunteer and that's the way I'm giving just makes sense to them. That just is, or, we want to host the Hope Tank. Now, the fact that I'm benefiting from the Hope Tank coming out because it's my car wash is opening or, whatever the thing is at the Hope Tank, I think that that's some inexpensive way that I can get some free publicity and bring you out, and also do a good thing. It's oh no, you're oh my gosh, you're leveraging our brand in order to sell car washes. Come on, we're not against it. Just compensate us for it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a whole mindset shift.
It is
that requires intentionality, and I don't think most people know to think that way. The general public definitely doesn't have a frame of reference for what it's like as a founder-led organization. It's so funny because whenever Hope Vibes gets major grant awards, people look at that oh my gosh, we're so excited for you, Manny and Adrienne. You got $100,000 from Lowe's. Actually, no, it's specifically this cannot go to payroll at all.
Right.
Adrienne and Manning did not get anything. The mission of Hope Vibes got something, and that's great. But the concept of the general public is totally they wouldn't know.
That's
and so that's why it's significant for us to be intentional in that kind of thought process.
I did want to mention this. I've been I don't know if you've read this book called Oversubscribed.
Not, but
it's a marketing book, but it reminded me of the conversation because I believe that as we continue to move over in the years, that's the kind of thought process that I feel like nonprofits have to think about, in the sense of more like businesses, way more like businesses, and marketing is we obviously knew marketing is a big aspect to what we do already, but Oversubscribed pretty much communicates this level where how do you have a bagel shop, for example, that is, you have two bagel shops on the same corner. One has nobody, but this other one has lines out the door. What are they doing differently in order to have people waiting for their bagel, right?
Yes.
Clearly there's an expectation, there is a culture there's something that is drawing people in, that is saying that you want to go to this shop versus this shop. And I think that in the nonprofit space, we haven't seen it as intentional as that. There was some stuff early on that we didn't know what we were necessarily doing, but we saw when I was reading this book, I was like, oh snap, we
did that.
We had people were like, oh yeah, I'm trying to sign up to volunteer for your website, but your volunteer is booked up for the year. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But then you have other people, other nonprofits, we're struggling to get volunteers. It's we've never really struggled to get volunteers. And it's and so kind of dissecting that and understanding that, is that something that you're sensing or see or feel?
Definitely. Yeah. And also that it's not because this bagel is better than that bagel, right? And it's not because this bagel is better by lines out the door better than the bagel across the street, right? So it's not really about the product all the time. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we have to figure out, is it the product? But, what is so true is that it's often all the other stuff, right? So some of that is happy accidents. Some of that is just authenticity. Some of that you're born with. Some of that is learned over time. Some of it you can manage to. Some of it you can build strategy around. Some of it is, it's not about it's not about the impact of the programming. It's the people doing it.
Yeah.
It's, are you a genuinely likable person? Are you somebody that people want to follow?
Yeah.
Or are you not, sort of projecting that? And that's really hard for people to hear, that it's not about the product. It's about like how it's the packaging.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we totally believe that, we live in a marketing time. Like, we live in a time of communication. I was just talking to somebody. We were watching a movie. My wife and I were watching a movie, pre-internet movie. Like, it was like, oh my gosh, all these people walking around, like people sitting on a blanket out at a lake, and there's like no cell phones. And it's like, you could just be alone in that moment. It's just amazing. Like, think about marketing. I was talking to someone, like selling a concert out, like 15,000 tickets sold for a concert's coming to town. So you announce a concert's coming to town 45 days from now. There's a concert coming to town. Think about what it took to sell physical tickets, 15,000 of them to people.
Yeah.
Right? Where you couldn't jump on an app. It wasn't a QR code. It was none of that stuff. There were physical tickets that you had to purchase from somebody. And all of the hands that needed to touch that process to get like 15,000 people inside an amphitheater. Like, that whole process of marketing, like, we are now in a stratosphere of marketing has become so simple and cost effective that everyone's doing it. We have to find ways to stick out. We have to find ways to cut through. And just, having the sort of regular stuff, having a newsletter isn't going to be the end all. Everyone does. So how are you differentiating? How are you becoming? And I think, we think nonprofits have some special sauce, which is that people trust them. And people want to trust. We want to believe. We want to be inspired. We want to align ourselves with people who are, I might be working in a windowless office inside one of these banks, but I am aligned to people who wake up every day doing something very different than what I'm doing. And I believe in that. And I want them to succeed. Like, your success is my success. Like, I can't change my life. I'm I'm somebody working inside a windowless office, but you guys can do for me what I can't do. So that sort of thing of nonprofits having that special sauce, right? It's belief, and it's this idea of like being important to you, that you would know my name, and that like you would shine your light on me. Gosh, that's good. I feel so good about it, right? So, we think marketing is probably what's going to get us through the next couple of years, because we're going to need individuals to show up. If institutions are failing us, it's individuals, and it may be as customers, but it's going to be as much people who are going to come out to No Whammies concerts, who are going to be donating to. I know we're getting to that, but it's good. I mean, that's one of the ways that we're trying to show up too. It's like someone's going to discover Hope Vibes because of a brewery event, or it's going to come because this podcast or whatever it might be. Like, it's marketing that's going to win the day.
So he just dropped the No Whammies on y'all. So yes, he's the super business nonprofit leader, prophet. Also sings and plays the guitar.
That's right. Yeah. So back to my origin story.
That's
so
right.
Like early days, I was a singer-songwriter. Back in the day, I had a day job, and then I would Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, 3 hours a night, I would play at a hotel bar for a couple of years. I did that. It's how I moved to New York. I saved up money playing in bars in Jacksonville, Florida before moving up to New York. Moved up there, a lot harder to get a gig. Took my guitar down to the subway. I would actually open up a guitar case and put on my FDNY hat and kind of look a little shabby and go down. And I'd make like $40 every time I go down. It's great. The subways would come like towards the end of the night, like after 8 o'clock, the subways slow down. So it's every 15 minutes instead of every 10 minutes or whatever. So I could get like 3 or 4 songs in. I would just rehearse, 3 or 4 songs over and over again. People come, it's an audience, they get on a train, new people come. It's like, brand new audience. So for a couple hours, you just rehearse the same songs over and over again, get really good at them, do the next set of songs. So I did that all through New York, moved down here, hung up the guitar, and didn't play it for 15 years. And it was a pandemic thing. Started thinking, bored. Let's just, where's my guitar? And it was broken. I bought a guitar. Friend moved down the street, and he played drums. And so early pandemic, we started to play a little bit, and that evolved. We were like, hey, you're pretty good. You guys should come out. So now we're a party band called No Whammies, where you play cover songs, 80s, 90s.
I love it.
Types of songs. And but our thing is we only play for nonprofits. So we take no revenue from it. So we go out and the venue donates to the nonprofit, and then we ask people who are listening and like it to donate to nonprofits. So
I love it.
2026 is the year of Hope Vibes, so we've dedicated our year to playing out. We're gonna raise money for Hope Vibes.
And you're gonna let him be a guest singer?
Dang right.
Hey, I'll come out there and sing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely nothing.
Give me some songs to learn. We'll get the band.
I have to learn songs too.
There you go. That's it. Yeah.
It actually might be fun though.
Yeah.
Totally is. Yeah. No, it can be a form of karaoke if you want it to be. Yeah.
Listen. I actually might be down for that. That's
So
really cool.
what lessons do you take from your life as a artist and musician that carries over in meaningful ways into your this other side of you?
This other side, right? Yep. Well, yeah. I mean, just even calling me a singer.
Yes.
It's
you
a hobby.
blushing?
You had the artist journey. You
Thank you.
went from one place to New York City,
Like-
big New York City.
It's true. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So
And played in the subways.
there you
Played in
go.
the
I mean, just play out wherever you can. Yeah. No. I mean, it's a creative exercise for me. It's a way to tap into a different part of myself. I do feel like there's flow state. So I'm sure you feel like when you're in it, like you're just, it's all happening. And I get that way in facilitation. I get that way in presenting. I'm extemporaneous. Like I looked at our questions and stuff getting ready, but I'm at the point now where it just all flows. And I love that aspect of it, that I can kind of get to flow state. And it's really hard to achieve that outside of my work self. And so I have a couple things, and performing music is one of them. Like I transcend. I kind of get up and 3 hours go by and I don't even know time has passed. And so that's one of the reasons I do it. Is just it puts me into a different space. I think we're all creatives. Like we all have creative elements to ourselves. Like all of us. Like every person listening, you are all creative.
Yes.
Charlotte is creative, organization here in Charlotte, because everybody is creative. And that might be creativity you bring to your parenting, or that might be creativity you bring to therapy or providing your friends or, a loved one. We're all creative problem solvers. And so anything that taps into that helps you feel creative, that helps you feel fed, not sort of just, sometimes we feel our creativity is taken from us, or that we feel like it's being used in some way. Our employer expects us to solve the world, right? And, and to keep earning the same paycheck we've been earning, those sorts of things, we start to feel a little put upon. Anything you can do that puts you in a creative space of agency, of feeling empowered, of feeling flow state. I think those are great things. And I know, Give Hope Daily and the things that y'all are doing, like, I bet you when times are tough and the Hope Vibes side of things, it's the Give Hope Daily side of things that starts to feel like, man, this is where I'm feeling my, oats. I'm feeling good, like this, I'm in it right now. And so find those things, like gravitate to them. And, sometimes and then it'll go back to being, a serve day, or it'll go back to being the things that, when you're with your people, when we get energy from people it's when we feel alone, right? And there's a lot of times we feel alone. I think the founder journey is often one that is quietly a very solitary one. Like the world sees, oh, you must be just surrounded by, and it's like, man, people do not know. I wake up every day, right? I wake up every day and I go out to my living room, you know. It's that stuff that nobody is seeing that, is that it's really on us. It's on you to decide, like, how do I put myself into my most creative, my most optimistic self? How do I refill my cup? Because like no one's going to fill that for me. I recognize that my job is to fill everybody's cup, and my job is to fill my own cup.
That's so good. Ugh.
Yep, it's good stuff.
We have to stop.
Yeah, we do.
But it's so good. We can
Oh,
go.
you
we,
guys,
for
you're
real,
sweet.
go on,
Thank
like,
you.
Yes, so good, so good. All right. We have anything else? We don't have. You have any other questions that you're just burning in your soul?
I have other questions, but it's okay.
Okay. So that just
We'll do
means
a
you have
part
to
two.
come.
How
Yeah,
about
you have
that?
to
There we go.
come back
We'll do
on
a
part
part
two,
I love it.
and we'll revisit this in another episode. And thank you so much, Josh, for coming on, hanging
got
out
it.
with us.
Guys, thank you. It's an honor to be here, and great to spend time with you. Great to be with you in person and not on screen with you. So I think that'll be a fun part of this podcast too. For us just getting people to know you.
Yes.
Be in the same room with you both.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's, and we do have to go, but I think that's one of the things too that at least, so I've realized recently, like creating spaces where we actually get together. Because we have been digital for a long, and I'm not mad at digital all the time. Sometimes I am, but getting together in person, I think, is important, so we can see each other, hug each other, high five, actually
Where
tangible.
the energy is. That's it.
So make sure you come see us at the No Whammies concert.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Drop
You
it in
gotta
the show notes.
come through a No Whammies concert. We go. Yes,
That's it. Yeah, I think those are going to start in March. So I'm sure look to
Yes.
No Whammies via Instagram and Facebook. Of course, Hope Vibes and your channels. Hopefully, we'll be advertising that as well.
Yeah.
Chance to come out, hear some good music, and support these wonderful founders across the table from me. So thank you guys. Thanks for having me here.
Love it. Well, you know what it is. It's the Unstoppable Visionary Podcast with your hosts, Emmanuel and Adrienne Threatt. Love y'all. Let's get it.
Bye.
Listen, I know that you guys enjoyed that episode. Don't even play. I know you enjoyed it because we enjoyed it, and it was such an encouragement to us and the journey that we've been on. And so I know that it was an encouragement to you. Josh has been an insight, just a wealth, a vault of knowledge, and I'm excited to see what Next Stage has going on in the next phase of their journey. So what I want you to do, remember, I want you to get your notebook, get your notepad, get your notes app, get your whatever you need, and listen to this again, write down some notes, write down some questions, send them to us, and we will make sure to get those answered in our next couple of episodes.
And as you're doing that, write down one actionable step. That's always my big thing.
That's so good.
When you've finished listening to this episode, what's one realistic next step that you can take that puts you further towards what you're building, what you're trying to create, so that you have some momentum. Momentum doesn't have to look like super fast burst of movement forward. Sometimes momentum is starting small and gradually moving forward. And so what's that one thing that you can take away from what you listened to today to keep you going?
Man, that's good. So I know that you were encouraged by today's episode. Look out for the next episode coming soon. Don't forget, Give Hope Daily. Go to givehopedaily.com too, because we got a couple amazing resources for you there. And yeah, got anything else to say?
No, I don't.
No, it's
I
all
don't
good.
think so.
It's all good. It's a beautiful day.
Actually, I do.
I knew it. I knew it.
You knew it. Hey, make sure that you follow on social media. We're on anywhere you're at.
All the platforms.
We're there.
All of them.
Go there, follow us, like the videos, share the videos, because if you were blessed, I don't even know if I want to say blessed. If you benefited if you were blessed or you benefited from this content, share it with somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else needs to hear this to help them move forward in the things that they are building, they're dreaming of.
Yeah.
They're waiting for some inspiration to even understand what it is that's stirring on the inside that they don't have language for yet. Share the content so it can help someone else.
Listen, that's going to be at Unstoppable Visionary Pod. That is the handle for all those platforms. And Give Hope Daily. So you can follow both. So TikTok, we're Unstoppable Visionary Pod. That's on, and then on Instagram and Facebook is Give Hope Daily. And so I know we throwing a lot at you, but it's okay because you got a lot in you. And that needs to come out of you. Come on now. Let's go. That's bars right there. Don't tell nobody, but y'all can let them know I got bars. Anyway, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget, Give Hope Daily. Peace.
When's the best time to start building a nonprofit that you've had in your heart? Do you wait until everything is perfect? No, the answer is no, because if you do that, you're never going to get started. Adrienne Threatt here from Hope Vibes and Give Hope Daily. This book is for people like you who need to know where to start with the vision that has been burning in their heart to help people in the community. This is for people who are looking to build movements that change lives. And so I want you to go to givehopedaily.com and pick up this book. This is like your 30-day launching pad for how to get your nonprofit off the ground in a way that's going to be sustainable. We want to help you build something that lasts, not just for the sake of building it, but so that you can have impact in the community that changes lives one person at a time. So go pick up this book. It's going to be great. It's going to walk you through everything you need to get started.